You're listening to Strange Tales in Podcast, Episode 1, The Cursed Bread of Pont Saint-Esprit.
Hello, I'm reaching out to you regarding a video about strange stories. Without further ado, let's delve into the realm of a village in the south of France, specifically Pont Saint-Esprit, to discuss the peculiar tale of the cursed bread of Pont Saint-Esprit. The town of Pont Saint-Esprit is situated on the right bank of the Rhône, at the confluence of the Ardèche and the Rhône, bordering 3 departments. Besides Ardèche to the west and Vaucluse to the east, not to mention the nearby Drôme. In this August of 1951, all eyes are on Pont Saint-Esprit. Within a matter of days, among the 4,200 inhabitants of this tranquil village by the station, hundreds of men and women experience strange symptoms, and dozens suddenly go mad. France, marked by shortages and the aftermath of years under German occupation, faces similar challenges upon liberation. To ensure food security, post-war political leaders import food aid and establish a social contract with the populace, known as the subsistence contract. Securing the food supply for cities and nations, particularly regarding cereals, becomes a focal point of this leadership policy due to the high demand for bread. However, this battle for bread, waged at this time, is far from over. Particularly in Pont Saint-Esprit, where the region's agricultural focus on vineyards over wheat, which has significantly declined since the beginning of the century, falls short of meeting the inhabitants' food needs. The importation of cereals, lack of competition, particularly among farmers, and the administrative fixation of prices contribute to the mediocre quality of flour in this region, sparking controversy. What begins as collective food poisoning escalates into a night of sheer madness a few days later. Thus, the night of August 25th to 26th, dubbed the Night of the Apocalypse by the region's inhabitants, witnesses 23 hallucinating individuals urgently admitted to Pont Saint-Esprit Hospital, along with several who tragically throw themselves out of windows. According to reports, 200 to 320 people are affected to varying degrees. 5 to 7 people die, directly or indirectly, due to the bread they consumed, including a 25-year-old, while 30 others remain hospitalized for several months in a psychiatric facility. The frequency of these mental symptoms, delusions in particular, harkens back to a once-forgotten disease, the Mal des Ardents, or St. Anthony's fire, caused by the ergot fungus, a parasitic organism found in rye and other cereals. This fungus contains alkaloids responsible for ergotism, including lysergic acid, from which LSD is derived. While this disease was prevalent in the Middle Ages, it had disappeared in France by the 18th century. Additionally, ergotism struggles to explain all clinical symptoms. The investigation quickly focuses on a wine grower from Saint-Martin-la-Rivière named Maurice Meillet, who is accused of adulterating the flour used in Pont Saint-Esprit with tainted rye and selling it to the baker Guy Bruyère. Meillet confesses, stating, "I didn't dare to deliver this poor quality merchandise in my town, so I shipped it to Pont Saint-Esprit."
You're listening to Strange Tales in Podcast, Episode 1, The Cursed Bread of Pont Saint-Esprit.
Both spend 2 months in prison before being acquitted and granted temporary release. By the end of October 1951, a military laboratory in Marseille analyzes the situation, finding no traces of ergot in the rye, neither in the bread nor in the flour. So, where does this strange epidemic originate, and who is responsible? Several hypotheses arise during and after this tragic episode. One hypothesis, hypothesis number 1, suggests the use of a fungicide called Panagen. The investigating court closes the case in July 1954, attributing the intoxication to the ingestion of methylmercury disaniamide, a substance found in Panagen, used to preserve grains for flour production. However, this lead is eventually abandoned following a 1965 pharmacy thesis. Another theory emerges, known as the mycotoxin hypothesis. In 1982, Professor Moreau, a state toxicologist and mold specialist, proposes that the intoxication in Pont Saint-Esprit could have resulted from mycotoxins, substances produced by mold, particularly Aspergillus fumigatus, which can develop in grain silos. While the toxic effects of mycotoxins are well known in veterinary medicine today, they were largely unknown in 1951. Then there's the Agen hypothesis. On January 3, 1952, police and fraud agents conduct a widespread operation in mills across France. Simultaneous raids on 152 mills reveal some using German-made whitening agents. These illegal machines utilize Agen, a pathogenic chemical compound that produces symptoms quite similar to those observed in Pont Saint-Esprit. The 74 cattle caught in the blatant crime are swiftly defended by the NMF, the National Association of French Mining, which perceives it as a threat to a lucrative sector. Faced with this risk, the investigating judge orders the halt of the investigation. Another hypothesis emerges regarding LSD. In 2010, in his investigative book A Terrible Mistake, American journalist Hank Albarelli contends that the CIA induced hysteria in Pont Saint-Esprit, clandestinely testing LSD's effects on the population. Albarelli relies on declassified documents referencing the Pont Saint-Esprit incident in a conversation between a CIA agent and chemist Albert Hofmann, the LSD discoverer. However, several symptoms observed in the victims don't align with LSD consumption effects, such as the timing of the initial symptoms, occurring between 1 to 4 hours rather than the 36 hours observed in Pont Saint-Esprit. Additionally, LSD doesn't typically cause digestive problems, unlike what was experienced in Pont Saint-Esprit. Allegedly, LSD contamination would have affected all inhabitants of Pont Saint-Esprit and spread to neighboring communities and wildlife due to wind dispersal. However, these claims remain unsubstantiated. In 2002, Regis Delaine noted in the book Le Feu Saint-Antoine and the Amazing Intoxication that the case of the cursed bread of Pont Saint-Esprit remains unresolved. While researchers suggest ergotism as a possible cause, justice continues to sift through the evidence, leaving the origin of this affliction that befell the small southern French town uncertain.
You're listening to Strange Tales in Podcast, Episode 1, The Cursed Bread of Pont Saint-Esprit.